Hey traders, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about Vinco Ventures, ticker symbol BBIG. Now, a lot has happened since we last talked about this stock a week ago. And in this video, I'm going to break everything down for you guys. Specifically, I'm talking about the 8K that was filed last Thursday. I'm going to explain what that means for BBIG moving forward. But also, I'm going to talk about a couple other pieces of news that have come out since we last talked. I'm also going to take a look at the charts, as always, breaking down key levels, key indicators, and more, so we know how to best play this stock moving forward. I specifically believe for this stock right now, it is setting up beautifully to see a major breakout in the coming weeks. So I'm going to explain everything that I'm seeing there. And finally, I'm going to do something a little different at the end. This is something very similar to what I did in an AHT video a few weeks ago, where I go over winners and losers in these high momentum trades and how you guys can be on the winning side of these trades. So stay tuned for that. But for now, leave a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start off with the major news that came out last Thursday. We got this 8K filing from BBIG on the day that we expected the merger to be completed. And essentially, there's two major takeaways from this filing. The first is that the company announced in a press release the spin out of Immersive Entertainment to become a standalone publicly traded entity. Now, we haven't received all the details on Immersive Entertainment just yet. However, we know a few things. First of all, the Immersive transaction is going to be completed during the third quarter of this year. Second of all, I think this is a very, very important part. All shareholders of the company are going to get an equity position in the spun out public company. So all BBIG shareholders are going to receive equity in Immersive Entertainment. And finally, the company is going to be led by the current chief strategy officer of Vinco Ventures, Brian McFadden. Okay, so this is a very, very interesting announcement. It's something that can be interpreted a few ways. I believe that as a whole, the market interpreted this pretty negatively. Okay. It caused a lot of that panic selling that we saw last Thursday. However, I don't think that that's necessarily fair until we see more details. Okay. A lot of the criticism here is that we're not receiving the full details of what they mean when they say we're going to have an equity position in the spin out company. And a lot of people are speculating that maybe they're going to kind of screw the shareholders out of, receiving a fair equity position in the company. However, like I said, there's no indication of this. And actually, if you read the statements from the insiders, it seems like this is a positive thing for the stock. Okay. Brian McFadden himself, the guy who is going to be leading this spin out company, said that the spinning off of the Immersive Entertainment unit is the icing on the cake for Vinco shareholders. And he had a lot of positives to say about what this means for the company, essentially saying that right now they are growing so quickly and they are going in so many different directions that they need to kind of expand and create these new companies just so that they can keep up with everything that's going on. So I personally don't think that this is going to be used to screw out the shareholders. I instead think that this is a positive, just showing how strong BBIG future is and how fast this company is growing. However, like I said, we have to wait for more details. As of right now, there's no reason to assume we're going to get screwed over. The second part, also very important from this 8K filing, is that the announcement of the Immersive transaction has contributed to the delay of the closing of the Lemotive transaction by what the company currently believes will be approximately 15 business days. So once again, that's unfortunate. Essentially, we've already seen this merger pushed back twice. And so pushing it back a third time is definitely not the best of looks. However, in this context, it could be a good thing. Ultimately, if this grows BBIG's bottom line long term, then 15 days is a small price to pay. So those are the major updates from the 8K filing. But as a result, we also have to update our catalyst timeline. So we're going to go back to this. This is something we've all become very familiar with. And as you can see, I've added in a new little bullet point here. So initially on June 24th, which was last Thursday, the parties intended to sign a final agreement and plan a merger and reorganization. However, now that has been pushed back 15 days, which if you do the math, it's the new date that we expect this to be signed is on July 9th. So also on July 9th, then we're going to expect to see the results from this first catalyst, and that was the Gemini Valuation Services independent third-party valuation on Zash and Lemotif. This is a very, very big deal once this becomes public knowledge, because I, personally have expressed very bullish opinions on just how high Zash and more specifically Lemotif should be valued. If you want to know more about that, I strongly recommend you check out my previous videos where I go over how important the valuation of Lemotif is going to be for BBIG's bottom line. And also, just a week after this July 9th official merger reorganization signing, we're going to see that the Vinco shareholders are going to vote for the approval of the Zash merger. That's another major catalyst, and I fully expect all the shareholders to be in favor of this merger. This is going to be a great thing for the company moving forward. So that's pretty much all I have to say about the 8K filing. But now going into a couple other pieces of news regarding BBIG. These both came out yesterday. First one, very, very interesting. We did see that Vinco Ventures right here was added to the Russell Microcap Index. That's definitely a positive. That means there's going to be more eyes on BBIG moving forward and more money naturally flowing in from people who decide to invest into the index. So that's a great sign moving forward. And on top of that, we also see that our bullish thesis just continues to get stronger, centered around Lemotif. We did see that Pakistan, which had originally lifted a ban imposed on TikTok, decided that they were going to resuspend the video sharing app. That is a positive. We've talked about why Lemotif has such promising future, specifically talking about how they choose to market their product to places where TikTok is either underdeveloped or banned. And now with Pakistan banning TikTok, that's another major market where Lemotif can expand to, ultimately increasing their value in the long run. So now that we have all the news out of the way, let's hop into the BBIG chart. We do have about 30 minutes to go until market close, but I'm zooming out right now into the 15-minute to show you guys quite an interesting setup that we have here. As you guys can see, over the past few weeks, we have formed a very, very bullish pennant. And everything right now is moving along as planned. Yes, today was a disappointing day. We've seen this 6% drop. It's been very, very frustrating after we seem to gain some momentum tomorrow. However, if you look a little bit longer term, we are still respecting the lower bounds of this pennant, and we could essentially matriculate in here all the way until the middle of July, which, by looking at the catalyst timeline, this could be very exciting, because if that merger news does come out on the 9th or the 15th, and we do see that public valuation, all of a sudden we could be at the end of this bullish pennant and we could see a massive breakout to the upside where we retest these $6 highs and also could potentially push a lot further. So this is an incredible setup. I do suspect that we are going to continue to stay in the bounds, at least while the interest and momentum are still there. Okay. If, since we're still waiting on the merger news, I do suspect that buyers are still very interested in the stock. The momentum clearly still seems to be there. We saw a lot of buyers come in today when BBIG dipped under the 3.9s. And so I do suspect that as a result, we're going to stay in this bullish pennant, and then we could see a massive breakout in the next couple of weeks. But now let's go into our normal chart analysis. We're going to hop into the 1 minute, taking a look at the daily price action. Like I've said, it's just been a frustrating day for BBIG. We've just kind of seen, nothing but downside with a huge drop when SPY broke negative. But we've also seen a lot of buyers come in. We saw increased volume around this time rather. And now we are trending back into the lower bound of our bullish pennant. So this is definitely a good sign moving forward. We are sitting below VWAP. However, I do anticipate we're going to close below VWAP. That does mean the bears are in control of tomorrow's trading session. We could see more consolidation around these levels heading into tomorrow. So that is definitely something to watch out for. However, taking a look at other indicators, we are seeing, a little bit of positive, a little bit of negative, specifically focused on the moving averages. We do have the 9-day EMA at 434 and the 21-day at 412. Currently, BBIG is sitting below both of these, which means that in the short term, things are starting to look a little bit bearish. However, longer term, we are still seeing that the bullish momentum is there. The 50-day moving average sits at 329 and the 200-day moving average sits at 248. So as long as we stay above those levels longer term, this stock still looks very, very bullish. Last thing we need to do is take a look at the RSI. This is going to be at least somewhat promising for BBIG if we go into the daily. And as you guys can see, we are sitting like currently in very, very neutral territory. So all this consolidation after we've ripped, quite a bit in the last month has been very good for the stock. And right now we are primed to start making another push to the upside. As you guys can see, we have relatively held our gains well, but nevertheless, we have trended our RSI back into neutral territory. And that is a great sign for the stock. Now let's finally start talking about resistance and support levels heading into tomorrow. So right now we are kind of sitting, near a very, very big resistance level. So this $4 to 390, 385 range is going to be huge for us to hold if we want to stay in this bullish pennant and kind of see that breakout in the next couple of weeks. If we do not hold this kind of 385 level, well, then we are going to see some downside. The next level would be about 360 to 350. And after that, we would have 330s. Nevertheless, if we do drop to those levels, I do expect a lot of buyers to step in with the catalysts that are upcoming. So it is by no means the end of the world if we do it. However, the chart's going to look a lot better if we can stay above these levels. So keep that in mind, but also keep in mind when it comes to support levels that you should always target your buys around there if you're interested in opening a position or adding to your position. By buying at support levels, you end up minimizing your risk and maximizing your upside. For example, if you bought today at the lows of 386, well, essentially you're risking off that 385 support zone, meaning that, if it breaks down to like 375, well, all of a sudden you can cut your position and you're only down 10 cents a share. Meanwhile, if 385 ends up holding a support, well, we could see upside to the $6 range, $7, $8, $10. There's unlimited upside. So that's why you should always buy near support levels. However, taking a look at resistance levels, so $4 is going to be a key psychological level, and it's going to be the upper bound of this support level we are currently in. That is the first resistance we're going to need to get above tomorrow. After that, we have resistance at 420 and 450. Above 450, things are going to start to look once again a lot more bullish. I do expect a retest of 485 to $5. That's where, this bullish pennant is currently sitting as well. So, we could start to see that very soon if we can get above 450 in the coming days. That is very exciting. Make sure to keep your eye out on that. But that's all I have as far as the chart goes. Taking a look at the volume, that's also going to tell part of the story here. We have seen very, very low volume over the last few days compared to what we were used to in the past few weeks. Obviously, with the merger being delayed, some people left the stock and, the momentum has maybe died out a little bit. However, keep in mind, we do have those upcoming catalysts. And so keep an eye on the volume. When the volume ticks back up because of the catalyst, that's when you should start to expect the price action to follow suit. And maybe we could then break out of that bullish pennant. Volume is going to be a very big indicator of what happens next with this stock. But finally, like I was saying, we have to talk a little bit bigger picture, not necessarily about BBIG alone, but essentially more so just winners versus losers in high momentum trades. And I'm going to tell you guys what it takes to win in these trades. So the first winner is going to be patience. Those who wait for dips to buy and add to their positions will have a much less stressful experience and are much more likely to profit from the trade. The second winner is going to be conviction. Okay. You have to understand your bullish thesis and that it's remaining intact right now. And that allows you to avoid panic selling during dips. Next part, the third winner is planners. You always have to enter a trade with a plan and evaluate both the risks and rewards. Okay. If you got into this stock at $5 thinking that, there's nothing but upside ahead. Unfortunately, you didn't do a great job planning. Okay. You always have to evaluate the potential for downside, the potential that, this merger could have been delayed again. And if you were able to, evaluate that, then maybe you waited for a better entry like today where we saw it near the $4 marker. And finally, scaling is also going to help you become a winner. If you've successfully scaled into positions during dips and scaled out of positions on rips, you have probably realized immense gains on BBIG trades. Okay, so that's going to be another big winner. But finally, we're going to talk about losers. So the first loser is going to be chasers. those who buy the stock out of FOMO when the stock rips are likely to get burned. We see a lot of people last week buying into the stock when it was around $5 are right now getting burned. They may be panic selling for losses right now. The best way to avoid any of that stress is just to not chase on the rips, wait for dips to buy your positions. And the second one is going to be the panic sellers, those who sell on price drops. They lack the conviction to succeed in these high momentum swing trades. So, you know, just stick to these winning ways, have a plan, have conviction, have patience, and scalp your positions, and you are going to succeed with these trades and specifically with this BBIG trade. But let me know what you think happens next with this stock. I'm always very interested to hear your guys' feedback. If you have any questions for me, let me know. I'm happy to answer them. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe to the channel. And aside from that, have a great rest of your night.